Right now, millions of people are chasing financial freedom, hoping the stock market will miraculously make them rich overnight. But they are ignoring the brutal truth about building wealth. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's legendary business partner, once famously declared, "The first $100,000 is a B, but you gotta do it." He meant that you must do whatever it takes, even if it means walking everywhere and surviving on discount food coupons. Between 1949 and 1954, a young Warren Buffett was desperately trying to build his own fortune. People look at his billions today and assume his money just compounded magically from day one. But the reality of crossing that first major financial milestone is completely different. It is a grueling test of human psychology. Let us look at the painful mathematics behind your first $100,000. Most beginner investors expect compound interest to do all the heavy lifting immediately. But here is the unsettling mathematical reality. Almost all of that first $100,000 comes entirely from your own blood, sweat, and savings, not from investment growth. By the time you finally reach that golden number, you have likely contributed about 70% of the total amount out of your own pocket. The remaining 30% comes from market growth. This is exactly why this initial phase feels incredibly slow and endlessly frustrating. You are doing 70% of the work, and your money is barely helping you. You are pushing a massive financial boulder up a steep hill entirely by yourself. There is a massive misconception about how Warren Buffett actually survived this brutal accumulation phase. Popular finance mythology claims that early on, Buffett only bought terrible, failing businesses that were trading for pennies. This was known as the Cigar Butt investing strategy, where you find a discarded cigar with one free puff left. However, if you study his early letters, the truth is entirely different. Buffett understood the immense power of compounding at a very early age. He cared deeply about the fundamental quality of a business and its long-term earning power, even in the 1950s. He made his extraordinary early returns largely by investing in higher quality companies that could compound value over time, not just the cheap cigar butts that everyone constantly talks about. So, how fast did Buffett actually grow his wealth during this period? His performance was completely mind-boggling. My best guess is that Buffett compounded his money at an annual rate of no less than 50%, and perhaps up to 60% a year. He later famously stated that his highest rates of return were achieved in the 1950s. He boldly claimed, "I killed the Dow, you ought to see the numbers." He explained that it is a massive structural advantage to invest with very little money. He even guaranteed that he could make a 50% annual return if he was only managing $1 million today. When your portfolio is small, you can exploit tiny market inefficiencies that giant institutional funds simply cannot touch. But achieving a 50% return means nothing if you have zero capital to invest. The mechanics of reaching your first $100,000 require absolute ruthlessness regarding your personal expenses. Buffett lived a notoriously frugal life in Omaha, completely ignoring luxury or social status. He treated every single dollar not as a piece of paper to be spent, but as a seed that could grow into a massive financial tree. When you spend $10 on a coffee, you are actually sacrificing the hundreds of dollars that coffee could become over decades. During this critical phase, your primary job is to aggressively increase your income and ruthlessly slash your spending. You must maximize the gap between what you earn and what you consume, funneling every spare cent into your investment portfolio. This brings us to the psychological crisis that destroys almost every aspiring investor. The journey to $100,000 is a mental desert. You will grind for years, sacrificing vacations and luxury goods, only to look at your portfolio and see $30,000. The market might crash, wiping out an entire year of your hard-earned savings in a single afternoon. This is the absolute turning point where 90% of people simply give up. They convince themselves that the system is rigged and that investing simply doesn't work. But they are quitting right before the math flips in their favor. The brutal truth is that wealth building is designed to be profoundly boring and emotionally exhausting in the beginning. It filters out the impatient and rewards the relentlessly disciplined. But what happens when you finally break through that psychological wall and hit the magic number? Everything changes. The financial gravity shifts. Once you cross $100,000, you can ease off the gas pedal just a little bit. If your portfolio grows at a historical average of 10%, your money is now generating $10,000 a year without you lifting a finger. That is the equivalent of having a silent, invisible employee working a part-time job for you 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. The snowball has finally become large enough to gather its own momentum. The second 100,000 will take significantly less time than the first, and the third will be even faster. Compound interest has finally taken the wheel. We must acknowledge the modern ripple effects and economic realities of today. Some critics argue that the $100,000 milestone is an outdated concept from the 1990s. Because of inflation, $100,000 today has significantly less purchasing power than it did back then. To have the same financial impact today, the modern equivalent milestone might actually be closer to $200,000. However, the fundamental mathematical and psychological principles remain exactly the same, regardless of the specific number. The core lesson is that escaping the gravity of having zero assets requires an enormous sustained burst of human energy. Once you reach that first critical mass of invested capital, your wealth begins to generate its own gravitational pull, accelerating your journey toward ultimate financial independence. We must face the most unsettling truth about the modern financial industry. Social media is flooded with fake gurus selling you the illusion of getting rich quick. They promise secret trading strategies and effortless wealth, but looking closely at the greatest investor in human history proves this is a complete lie. Warren Buffett did not get rich quick. He got rich forever. He endured the brutal, unglamorous grind of saving his first $100,000 through immense personal discipline. There are absolutely no shortcuts to escaping the rat race. You cannot skip the painful accumulation phase. You must accept that building real generational wealth requires a long period of aggressive saving and extreme patience. If you refuse to do the hard work early on, you will be forced to work hard forever. The brutal truth about Warren Buffett's first $100,000 is that it was not magic. It was the mathematical result of relentless saving, finding high-quality companies, and refusing to interrupt compounding. The first major financial milestone is designed to test your resolve. It will demand your time, your focus, and your ultimate patience. But once you conquer it, the entire financial universe opens up to you. What do you think is the hardest part about saving your first $100,000 today? Is it inflation, low wages, or the temptation of social media lifestyle inflation? I want to hear your thoughts, so please let me know down in the comments below. If you want to master the deeper psychology of wealth, hit that like button, subscribe, and see.